If you're using good judgment or you're just recognizing some of the patterns, complaints and feedback, that data is absolute gold because the product, the value getting experience is just so much better. So when I'm not working on my company, I have a band with a friend, and we've been practicing for about a year and a half, and we are close to finishing our first album. Our most popular song is a song called Closer to the Metal. And this song, Closer to the Metal, it tells the fictional story of where a guy is intrigued with a girl that he met, but he's in conflict with his father's advice to focus on his art, to focus on his music, and to not chase after this girl. The father, he doesn't want him to settle or get distracted from his work, which his father sees as more important for his son's life and his dreams long term. So the way that the lyrics go, closer to the metal and never settle. So I loosely relate this song to business because closer to the metal in business, it means being close and closer and as close as possible to your customers and to the metal of your product. And by the way, whenever I say product in this video or others, you can basically assume that I include services in that as well. Because although services, you don't have necessarily like something tangible that you can hold in your hand, if you are creating a scalable business that can run and operate with or without you, which should be the goal of any entrepreneur and of any business, big or small, you have to design it. You have to craft it as if it is a product ultimately. In the past, I started a SaaS business on the side in addition to our main business. It's called Saber Blast. It was pretty innovative. It allowed different businesses to link up and combine their social media, and distribution in terms of digital marketing to basically team up, form marketing alliances to basically combine their powers in terms of like getting their messages out there. The biggest problem though was that I was the only developer on it at the time, so I was very under-resourced, you could say. And I think I was also way too close to the code, and I wasn't using the product as much as I could have been to solve my own problem. Part of the reason why I even thought of it was just I wanted to get more distribution for blog articles that I was regularly publishing on our main company website. So I was under-resourced. I started to slowly figure it out. I would talk to customers, but then I sort of fell off. By the end of it, when I ultimately did put it to the side and went back to the main business because it was a startup and it just wasn't generating as much revenue as it could, and I sort of figured out that in order to grow, it would probably have to be some sort of a freemium type of business model. Plus, at $20 a month for a subscription, we just weren't growing as fast as I thought we would be at that time. Still, at the end, I started to figure it out because I just kept asking questions, although just not as fast, and I wasn't as curious as I think I could have been. And ultimately, I did start to figure out a model that I think would have worked better in terms of linking up businesses and networking and combining resources. And okay, what did one business want? What did another business want? How do we pair them up? So in a sense, I would say that I wasn't close enough to the metal. I was too close to the actual nuts and bolts in an engineering sense because I was literally building the whole thing myself from scratch in code, but I wasn't also close to the right thing though. And not close enough to customers in terms of just maybe a group of customers who I'd meet with regularly and keep coming back to, okay, how do I give you more value? How do I give you more value? But also just using it myself end to end. And that's something that I believe I've learned from that experience and others, and I'm diligently applying it today. And I have to keep pushing myself to do it with our new AI business growth automation platform, Growbo.com. For example, how I stay close to the metal and close to the product is I'll be testing it daily now. And I'll be asking our team also to test daily, since sometimes, I'll be busy, working with the development team, or right now I'm working on getting it launched into the hands of customers. But we're all diligently testing it. Although I am a developer and I could build the whole thing myself, having a team and having more resources than I did in the past, where I can have the team build it. When I use it, it's almost like I'm better able, it's sort of fresher in my mind, and I can get closer to the mindset of a customer because I literally am a customer of it too. I'm using it in the same way that a customer would. I'm figuring out, for example, internal processes and projects and just work in general that we want to delegate or automate, with the AI capabilities and AI agents and agentic workflows that the platform enables, that Grobo enables us to actually do. So, for example, we're in the process of just like a couple of initial grow flows. We're already saving a significant amount of money in terms of other processes that otherwise we would have to manually spend time on and or hire separately for. That's been helpful, and I'm just sort of I keep getting closer to the metal. Each time I run through it, I'll take my time with it, and I'll just sort of pick out areas where it's okay, this could be smoother. Another thing that really helps me to be closer to the metal of the product and what I'm going to start calling through the rest of this video, the value getting experience, I'll have team members actually test it, right? And I will ask them to record it and talk out loud as they're doing it. Something about putting it through the filter of a video where I'm sort of over the shoulder, watching how they're using it and how they're thinking about it and what is unclear or not clear. I'm just able to get a lot of new ideas for, okay, how we can smooth this out. Okay, we need to improve onboarding in this way over here. These are some of the ways that in the past I wasn't as close to the metal as I could have been, and I was settling. I was more focused on features and code and less focused on the value getting and value delivery experience overall. So this brings me to another point, which is that a lot of entrepreneurs that I see, and I've seen it in myself in the past, they'll go into business and they don't even try to differentiate. The work itself becomes the business. How do we just do more work? How do we get more customers or more clients? And that's it. The business itself lacks meaning. And I don't think this is good. And I'm not trying to be fluffy or woo-woo or anything like that. Just hang on for a second. Because what it comes down to is you're just kind of chasing money. It's just chasing dollars rather than maybe initially. I think a lot of times initially entrepreneurs get into business with a very idealistic notion. It's going to be an adventure. We're going to make money in the process. Yes, it's going to be great. But reality and unfortunately the cynical attitudes and advice of others, some of the people who, they might be in the market themselves, might be even customers because they've just had a negative or mediocre experiences with other businesses or products or whatever, people in their lives. It's just it just tries to beat you over the head and beat you down to where you and many entrepreneurs I see, they kind of get the idealism beat out of them. They ultimately either give up in business or resign themselves to a business that is just about money. And it's just ultimately not very fulfilling. I think the world of entrepreneurs, I think the world of people who are different and frankly a little weird, because to be an entrepreneur, you have to believe that something different is possible because most people just aren't entrepreneurs because it's tough. You are forced to learn to be a generalist expert in different areas across the business, so that can really beat you down to the point where it's just, I'm just chasing money, and just becomes about the work. And you forget about, okay, you had this bigger vision, you had this thing that you wanted to create to differentiate your brand, which was, this contribution that you just wanted to make to the market and to the world. If the business and the product and the providing of the value is something that can bring you enjoyment, or better yet, just joy, where you're providing value to your customers and you can feel that, you're enthusiastic about that, and it's something meaningful to you, the whole process, even if it is challenging, it requires a lot of work and it's difficult, that intrinsic sense of enjoyment or joy, it gives you an innate unfair advantage over others. So if you have that, or you can learn to get back to that place, or to just get to that place, you're going to have an unfair advantage over others, because that is fundamentally fuel that will drive you forward. And it is something that you can leverage. And I mean that in the most business, it is leverage. And you can apply this feeling in the form of curiosity, of then asking questions to customers. Even if you're very busy, you're running around, you're not in a place where you can really sit down and survey and talk one-on-one and really be meticulous about it. That's okay. You can get to that place. But just start by being curious. by asking questions of customers. Listen to complaints, read cancellation forms. Just a few minutes. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, and you will quickly notice patterns as you think about it. And if you brainstorm a little, talk with your team, or just get out a piece of paper and start brainstorming, talk to a customer even, and brainstorm ways that you can address these complaints, because the complaints or just general feedback can be something even subtle. If you're using good judgment, or you're just recognizing some of the patterns, complaints and feedback, that data is absolute gold. Customers won't always be able to tell you, okay, I need you to have this feature. Sometimes it will be that way, but you can use that feedback to fix the root causes that can be holding back your business from being more profitable, or you can have a higher price, command a higher price because you're just giving more value, giving a better experience, or where you're just naturally going to attract more customers through word of mouth organically because the product, the value getting experience is just so much better. Tactically speaking, you can sit down, you can interview customers, you can look at cancellation forms, have customers fill out a cancellation form. Ideally, you have them fill out an onboarding too. We do both cancellation and onboarding with our core business, which has been, formerly was AutoGrow. In terms of, businesses pay a flat monthly fee and get access to an unlimited done-for-you marketing team in terms of unlimited tasks that we can get done for them each month. And that is going to be absorbed into the Grobo AI business growth automation platform. Because AI isn't perfect at everything. When we have clients who have been onboarded for that, we have them fill out an onboarding form. What does success look like to you? Why did you sign up? When you're doing sales, just shut the hell up and listen. Like, why do your customers or clients, what is motivating them to come and spend 30 minutes or whatever, an hour of their time just sitting with you to sell to them? They probably have a painful problem that they need to have solved. And what is the best way that you can possibly provide that to them? Keep in mind the basics: better, faster, cheaper. It always makes the experience better. Speaking of asking questions, I saw some short video the other day where someone was talking about how they had the opportunity to sit down with Warren Buffett once. The thing is that they wanted to pick Warren's brain. They wanted to get advice on their business, blah, 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 but they couldn't because Warren Buffett was too busy asking that person questions, and the lunch was over and they're like, what the hell? He got all the value from me, and I wasn't able to ask him anything. But it just highlights that people like Warren Buffett, and I'm just naturally this way as well. And I think a lot of people who are in business or entrepreneurs who want to grow, you have to be curious. Just ask questions, keep gathering data, look for patterns, and apply. The data gathering is key because that data is going to be ultimately like a compass telling you, go over here and do this. Don't do these other 5 things, these other bells and whistles. Just go change this one thing and go and do it. And we did this for a while with AutoGrow. We kept refining. I think that we slowed down a little bit in the last year. Part of that was personal related, but also the other reason was because we've been developing what we see as the future of the business, which is the Grobo AI platform. And I'm so excited to get this out there. I really believe it's going to be the best product that I've ever worked on and had the privilege of launching and bringing to market to date. So just showing you that I'm practicing what I'm preaching and how I'm doing it. So we're getting the product into the hands of our early access customers who we pre-sold to. I'm going to be sitting down with them one-on-one beginning next week to just give a live demo and just to hear about okay, what are you hoping to use this for? And even just kind of like consulting for them in real time. I think that part of the onboarding experience that needs to be as smooth as possible is just don't make me think. Because I've realized myself from using it too, it's really powerful, but in order to get the value, part of one point of friction is that I've been putting myself in the shoes of the customer as a user of the platform myself. I have to think of, okay, what's the process I want to automate? What's the task or project that I want to delegate? And I sort of have to think of those ideas. And also I want to meet with customers to just see if there's any assumptions that I've made in terms of the design of the product and the value getting experience that maybe I just didn't realize. But I'm confident that it's going to go well, and I'm just looking to see customers being happy with it too and excited. And we're going for that wow experience, but we're going to keep refining and keep looking for opportunities to make it just an amazing onboarding experience and an amazing product. That's where the application comes in, though, to get back to what I was saying. You want to actually take whatever data that you're going to hear from customers in the market, and just refine the product. It can actually feel overwhelming, I found in the past, because you can hear so much. But again, that's where you got to come back and say, okay, I've heard a lot. You just can't do it all, especially if one customer just is really enthusiastic about giving you a lot of feedback. Like, oh, you should do this and this and this and that, and this is wrong and this is right. You got to slow down. You have limited resources. You have constraints. Every business has constraints. Focus on where you see the patterns. If you're not seeing an immediate pattern, maybe just do some sort of a ranking and scoring system on the feedback on each item in order to help you prioritize, what is important and maybe what should be put on hold or disregarded until you start to see a pattern develop. When I say the concept, by the way, of value getting experience, it's like, what are the steps to go from zero to ideal outcome? So this assumes that you know what the ideal outcome is. If you don't, talk to customers, ask them what their ideal outcome is, and start to paint a picture of it, once you've combined the vision or the feedback from different customers. Shortening that is going to enhance the value getting experience. Less friction, more enjoyment, more fun, cheaper, better, faster, cheaper always sells, like I said. But just small little touches, like I mentioned the word fun, enjoyment, small little touches, like in terms of branding. With Grobo, we have kind of this retro video game type of feel to our brand, and we're just kind of gamifying some of the aspects of the value getting experience. And so far, the feedback we've gotten from customers is that it's very positive. I think that people who it resonates with are like super enthusiastic about it. If it doesn't emotionally resonate, they're still cool with it because it's like, as long as I'm getting value, maybe I have a neutral reaction to it, but that's okay too. And I think we're going to build on that. But it's like, I would call it the chocolate on the pillow technique. So you go to a hotel or you have a cleaner come to your house and clean. If they were to put the chocolate on the pillow, it feels premium. It feels like a personalized touch. You know that a human being actually took the time to put it there. You didn't necessarily expect it. And maybe you don't even like chocolate, but it's kind of the little small touch that matters, the little extra thing that people sometimes value, to feel special, to feel like the experience is humanized or personalized in some way. So finally, after you've done this yourself for a while, you want to gradually teach your team how to do it, how to really have, and ultimately, ideally, build a company culture or a team culture around doing what you've been doing here repeatedly, to intake data, explain why it's important, try to instill a sense of pride in just continuously improving the product. And you want to ideally be working with people too who just have that intrinsic motivation to do great work. Ideally, you want to be doing something that is meaningful to you, and your team should also. And you should just say that to them. And that's why, you explain to them why intaking the data, and it's going to be used to refine the value getting experience, the product itself, and ultimately the business itself, which is, can be seen as just a work of art, something, an organization that can stand independently of any one person. Because, team itself is meaningful. So, to recap, closer to the metal in business means getting as close as possible to the value getting experience, all right? Where you're removing all friction, inefficiencies, you're making the flow of that value thicker. In other words, you're figuring out ways to deliver more value. Even if in ways that are small, it can make an outsized impact for customers. It will really resonate with customers too if they see that they are giving their business, their hard-earned money, to a company who really cares about them and cares about not just delivering on promises, but on getting better and better at doing so. That's great branding, and that is great advertisement by itself, and they are going to spread awareness of your business, your brand, and your product to others naturally. So get closer to the metal of your business, your market, and your product. Get closer to the metal and never settle. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. As always, it is the audience, you guys, who are really helping to grow this channel. So I appreciate it. If you found this to be valuable and maybe you know someone who might find it valuable as well, please consider sharing it as well with that person or with a group of people, like if it's on social media, for example, too. And if you're interested to learn more about Grobo and how Grobo can help you to automate the growth of your business, check us out at grobo.com. We are launching right now, and it is very exciting. I'm very proud to be bringing this product to market. or platform, as we like to say. All right, I'll see you in the next video and possibly in the comments too. See you later.